Hi there, everyone. It's Brave here again. The video topic today is peer pressure, and I want to talk about peer pressure that you can get from external people who you don't really know very well, like when you're in work or school, or, you know, large groups of people where you have to be around them for training purposes, perhaps, or you know, you don't really know them, they're not your close friends or family. But also, there's the other type of peer pressure, which is from your own family and people you know very well. So, let's start. I'll talk about the external one first. So, what I find really strange, and I'll use my own experiences to explain this. One thing I notice is people want to test other people's boundaries. That seems to be a common thing. I don't know if people are doing it consciously all the time, but people meet new people, they walk into a room, a large group of people they don't know, for the first time, and they look around, and females of any race, any age seem to, I'm not talking about children, but like, I don't know, if you're about 15 and older, you're always going to look around and perhaps think about insecurities you have, like, oh my god, like there's a lot of beautiful people here, and if you're a person who's insecure about your looks, you might immediately feel inferior. Not me personally, but just using that as using that as an example. Someone who's feeling low self-esteem, they might not be slim enough, or they want to be prettier or whatever, they might think like, oh my god, these people in this room are really well dressed, they look really nice, that they've got beautiful makeup on, or they just look naturally beautiful, and they're going to instantly feel insecure, right? And then they're going to immediately, whether consciously or unconsciously, lower themselves and put themselves under those people subconsciously, right? And that will give those people power they weren't even looking for. So then when that person comes in on the weak foot, head down, not feeling confident, not able to, hold their own amongst these other people who might just have fake confidence. It might be the fake superficial stuff, like their clothing, their jewelry, their status, their makeup, that gives them that confidence. It might not even be that they have so much, belief in themselves. They might have insecurities too. They might think they're ugly too, but they've managed to find a coping mechanism, like wearing more makeup or dyeing their hair a different color, a more popular color, you know. So it's very weird how people try to say, I don't care what anyone thinks, and I'm happy with myself, but then it's because they know, if they really truly admitted that, oh, I'm not happy with myself, actually I kind of hate myself, not me personally, but using this as an example, then they are going to feel weak. But then they don't realize that they're making themselves weak by just I don't know, it's like, I hope I'm explaining this clearly. You make yourself weak because you give your power away by making it clear with your body language and your perhaps the way you talk as well. You're deferring power to others who you assume have the power. Then this is where the peer pressure comes in. When these people see that, oh, this person is not an alpha, this person is a beta, or like a secondary person, they don't feel confident, because you could have a room full of people and they're all trying to be the alpha, but if you recognize that all of you have individual power, individual skills that bring something to the table, it won't be people will naturally want to compete with you. Especially women want to compete with other women. Like if you put a load of women in one room and only sent in one guy who was kind of ugly and boring, and even if he wasn't even that type of guy that women wanted, say if he was funny, so that was his only draw or pull, he was funny, he made everyone laugh, he complimented them, suddenly this guy who society says, oh, he's a bit ugly, or he's not tall, or he's not good looking, or he's not tall, dark and handsome, whatever people think is the superficial hierarchy or whatever, the popular thing to be, then suddenly all these women, just based on the fact that he's funny and complimenting them and putting them on a pedestal, they will then start to want his attention just because of the situation. It's not even really that they want the guy, it's more that they don't want to feel like they're not the most desirable one in the room. So that's the kind of thing I think kind of can take place with, like I say, that links back to giving away your power, because your insecure people's insecurities are triggering them to act in a way that doesn't serve their best interest. So for me, in that situation, I would see all these women going after the guy and I would probably ignore him, not in a nasty way, but I would know there's no competition. These women aren't a threat to me, so I wouldn't feel threatened at all. They could be supermodels, I wouldn't feel threatened because I know who I am culturally, spiritually. I don't want to be you, because to be you would mean I'd have to take on all your weaknesses, take on all the bad stuff in your life. And I know I'm happy. I know I've got so much strength. I wouldn't want to give up being me to be you. You know, like even if you were rich and famous, but you know, to be you would mean I'm part of the bad system. I don't want that. So I never really understood why people were jealous of others so badly. You know, because I had a load of people always being jealous of me all throughout my life, even on the times when I had nothing, like when I had to build myself back up from rock bottom. People were acting jealous and I'm like, what are you jealous of? You know, something bad has happened here and I've had to build myself up from rock bottom. But the thing they're jealous of is the fact that you could build yourself up from rock bottom, and they're too afraid to even dare to walk away from something that would take them to rock bottom, you know. So it's like they would stay in that horrible marriage or that horrible job, or you know, abusive family or whatever. Like they don't have that strength. And that is something I think that people get jealous of, people who are happy in their own skin, very, very strong, very, very, you know, if you're very kind and you're giving and loving, but you don't take crap from anyone, they're almost jealous of the fact that you can just unapologetically be yourself, and they know they can't, or you're just free. You fight for your freedom and you don't let anyone control you, and they know they may be trapped, or they're people pleasers, or they can't, you know, fight back when something bad happens. And so they literally become jealous of your freedom or your ability to be independent, or you know. So yeah, so peer pressure, I would say, becomes more powerful when you defer power, give away power to people who don't even know you. Like they're going to see that and sense that. It's like sharks with blood in the water. They're going to be like, oh, I can sense the energy of this person is weaker than mine. So if I tell them to do something, even if it's something dumb, the chances are they'll do it. You know what I mean? And then negative people will test that boundary and say, well, let's see what I can make this person do. So a male, for instance, might see a girl who doesn't seem pushy or confident and strong. He just has to give her one compliment and she's wrapped around his finger. Whereas another person who's been through a lot, or just is a stronger, more, you know, confident person, would make that person know with their energy that I'm not the one to mess about with. I'm not the one whose time you can waste, you know. And yeah, so peer pressure is a weird one, because sometimes you don't even realize you're allowing a group to peer pressure you. So for instance, let me think, like for instance, I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I never had an alcohol problem. I just was in that social scene in the UK, because I'm from the UK. So everyone that I knew, I can't speak for everyone in the UK, but most people in the UK love to go to the pub, even if it's just for a meal and they're not drinking alcohol, but they love to be out of the house. It's boring sitting in the house. People bring their kids to the pub, and you'll see whole families with newborn babies in the pub. It's really weird. And it's like a social thing. You want to be out of the house. It's boring sitting in the house watching TV all the time. And some people are at the pub every night eating their dinner, if it's like a cheap pub and the food is good. So when people yeah, so anyway, when you go out with a group of people, whether it's like work colleagues or, work colleagues or groups of school friends or whatever, you know, you don't know them super well, but you might be like, oh, I really want to be out tonight. And these are the only group of people I can socially ask to come out with me, So, if you're out with your friends, your personal family and friends, the peer pressure can happen, but I'll get into that a bit later. So I'm talking about people you don't know very well, and you want to fit in. I guess some people want to fit in. I never had that urge to fit in. I wanted to feel welcome and comfortable, but at the same time, if people were acting stupid and dumb and I saw they weren't my cup of tea, and I thought, well, I'm not like you, I don't want to take drugs, I don't want to smoke, I'll drink some alcohol, but it kind of was more a social thing. And to be honest, if no one was ever drinking alcohol, I would never have even started drinking alcohol, to be honest, because I remember people were just like shocked when I said at, like, how old was I? Like maybe 18, and someone from a workplace, I started working while I was studying. And they were like, hey, we're going to a party, do you want to come? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And they were like, oh, just bring some alcohol, it's like a house party. And I was like, why would I bring alcohol? Why I don't drink? And they were like, what? You don't drink alcohol? And I was like, no, I've never drank alcohol. Why? And they were so shocked, and they were like, don't worry, we'll show you how to have a good time with alcohol. And I was like, no, I'm good, I'm good. And they were like, no, you have to drink. And I'm like, why would I have to? That seems a bit stupid to me. So then I did obviously, try some alcohol when I went to the party, just because they were literally shoving it in my hand. And so I was like, oh my God, what's the big deal? So I took a sip or whatever. And then they keep, and after I drink that, they put another one in my hand, another one. And I'm so, at the time, innocent. I had no idea alcohol could knock you out or make you have blurred vision or make you have, like terrible reactions and be drunk. I didn't know what drunk was. No one explained it to me. Like my mum said she'd only been drunk once in her whole life, but she never explained to me the dangers of alcohol, you know, or sex education or nothing like that. She wasn't that kind of parent. She was older generation, where she acted like an older generation who didn't talk to their kids about anything. So so I just remember suddenly feeling dizzy, suddenly couldn't speak properly, suddenly my vision's not right, and they're going, you're drunk, and I'm going, no I'm not, because I didn't know. So I'm getting annoyed at them, like, why do you keep calling me drunk? What is drunk? What are you talking about? And then it should have been obvious, but it wasn't. I should have known from films and movies, but I didn't for some weird reason. And so when I remember like just feeling sick and wandering into all the different bedrooms and rooms of the house, and I was just like, I don't know what I was doing. I just vaguely remember that. And obviously I must have got home. Someone must have helped me get home. I don't even remember. But I just remember thinking, why do people enjoy this? This is dumb. But yet, when I went to the next party, what did I do? They put a drink in my hand and I drank it. They put another drink in my hand and I drank it. So on one hand, was it verbal peer pressure? Was it? I mean, it was in the beginning. It was, but then I was letting it happen, wasn't I? Because why am I allowing this? Part of me was like, when we were at nightclubs, they would buy an expensive drink and I would feel obligated to accept the gift, I guess, because it would seem rude to me if they just paid £7 for a drink, which is a ridiculous price. It's like in the West End, in like central London, super expensive drinks. And so now I feel bad that they've gone and been kind, bought me an expensive drink that wasn't even worth it. I would have been happier if they didn't waste their money like that. But then when I take the drink, I'm like, oh, now I have to drink it. But then sometimes I used to feel shy around, like, if guys would come up to me and talk to me. So then to overcome that shyness, that was another thing. Alcohol, I noticed, made me less shy. So then I'm like, okay, well, if I want to feel less shy, I just got to drink a little bit. But then obviously I don't know, you're you're drinking it too fast, or you're not paying attention to your drinking, or people are buying you drinks. That's the main problem I had, that people love to like return the favor, because I was always so kind to everyone, And the way people in my community or my group of friends or my part of London, it was like, hey, you did a nice turn for me. Let me buy you a drink. Let me take you out to dinner. It was that kind of thing. So to buy me a drink was like returning the favor. Oh, you gave me a lift to work the other day when you didn't have to, or you picked up my friend in the rain, or whatever. Buy her a drink, get her all the drinks she wants. That was like their way of kind of doing me a favor in their mind, or paying back the favor that I did them. So to me it was just like, oh, this is you know a, a polite thing to do, to take the drink and drink it, to show your gratitude. Because there's some places I remember, like when I was in New Zealand, and if I was around a lot of Maoris, and if a Maori person bought you a drink and you didn't accept it, they'd say, oh, so my drink's not good enough for you, right? My money's not good enough for you. Like, they would get really angry. And I'd be like, hey, whoa, no, that's not what I meant at all. I just didn't want any more to drink, but to show you respect, I'm going to take the drink, and I really appreciate it. It was like a weird tribal respect thing they were showing. It was like, well, I've gone out of my way to show you respect, and I didn't have to. And even though, why does alcohol have to be respect? Why does alcohol equal respect? I don't know. It's weird. And the same thing, like when I remember going to someone's house one time and their mum offered me a drink or some food, and I said, no, I've just had some food, thank you. And she was like, oh, my food's not good enough for you, my drink's not good. Like, she said the same thing as a Maori guy, and this was an English woman. So it's not even a Maori thing, but I just remember these two incidences, and it was just really funny to me. Like, I would never feel that way. If you came to my house and you didn't want a drink, no problem. If you came to my house and you didn't want food, no problem. I really don't mind. It's not a big deal. Sometimes you might ask a couple times, but not more than twice. Like, if I said to someone, like if we went out to dinner and I said, hey, I'm going to pay for everyone's dinner, because you've all been great to me. I just got paid and the bill isn't even that expensive. Yeah, I'm going to pay for this. Everyone give me, put your cards away, put your money away. And they all go, no, I want to pay. And now we're arguing over who's going to pay the stupid bill. And I'm like, I insist. And they're like, no, I insist. And I'm like, what is this, a game? Like, just let me pay the bill. I'm trying to be nice. So things like that is like a weird, I don't know if it was a competition thing, because I was just trying to be nice. But yeah, so it's different, because peer pressure in that situation might be someone saying, well, I forgot my wallet, you pay. Even though they may be tricking you and they have got money, they're just trying to take advantage, perhaps. But I think, yeah, with certain social groups, even if you're not super like respecting those people you're around, like, because sometimes I would hang out with people I didn't even really like. They were kind of scruffy or lower class and not very intelligent, but because they were the only ones available to go to a pub with, they were the only ones I worked with, or at the time my real friends weren't free, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go home, I'm bored, so okay, I'll go out with you losers. And I saw it as slumming it, and it's kind of weird how human beings, being social creatures, you'd think they would have harnessed the ability to be socially confident around each other, but there's so much insecurity in most people. And the only insecurity I used to feel was when someone would like me, and if I really liked them, I would get nervous. If I didn't like them, I could talk to them all night. It wouldn't matter how much they liked me. But I never had a problem getting attention. But I got a lot of attention, but it's just, I got attention and I didn't like the people, even though they were good looking guys or whatever. I was like, oh, I'm not really feeling you. But the one I did like, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want that one to come over. And then when he did, I'd be like, oh, I'm so nervous. And that happens a lot. I've spoken to a lot of people and they say, yeah, same feeling. You can talk well to the one you don't fancy, but the one you fancy, you actually are like, does my hair look good? Do my teeth look good? Is my clothes all right? Do I smell nice of deodorant and perfume? Like, you get really self-conscious. And it's kind of weird. Like, so that person I can see how people would defer power to someone they liked, unconsciously, just thinking like, well, I do care what this person thinks of me because I want them to like me. And even if they do like you, which most times they will show it, but it can be frustrating because some people will play games, some people will make you jump through a lot of hoops, it's annoying. But yeah, so let's go on to the family peer pressure. And one thing I've seen in families, and not just my own, like my family was very dysfunctional. Two narcissistic parents, two covert narcissistic parents, very, very dangerous, violent people. And they, very, very, unpleasant. So you grow up with those kind of people, and you look at other parents, other families growing up when you're 5 years old. And even at 5 years old, I could tell something's wrong with my parents. I don't know what the clinical word was at the time, but something was clearly wrong with them, because even the other parents who were, lower class or poor or, struggling, they still seemed super normal compared to my parents, who weren't super poor. Like, we were working class, we weren't rich, but we weren't poor. And it was so strange to see how different my parents acted and how different these other people acted who even had less than us. And it was like weird to me, like, how am I, gonna get away from this? It was always like, God, I'm stuck here, I'm a powerless child, I can't get away. And so that was frustrating and upsetting. So the childhood I had was awful. And then the peer pressure I remember was always feeling peer pressured to stay silent, like, and that came from my mum. Like, if she did something terrible, beating you up with a belt or something, and then the teachers would ask you at school, why have you got this bruise, or why do you seem so timid and scared, like when I walk past you? And then you want to tell someone to help you, but I'd already been warned by my mum indirectly that, oh, you think this is bad? Well, if you tell Childline, or if you tell your teachers, or if you tell the social workers that pop in or whatever, they're going to put you somewhere worse, and something terrible is going to happen to you there. You'll be really abused there. This is just discipline. This isn't abuse, So she would hide uh, her veiled threat under the fact that, well, it could be worse. And you're a child, so you're just like, holy crap, it can be worse than this? Oh, you mean you're beating me with a belt every single day for no reason from age 7 to 15, but it can be worse than this? And obviously, at age 7, I had no idea it was going to happen every day till I was 15. And the only reason it stopped when I was 15 is because I literally had to fight back. I literally had to warn my mum that, hit me again and I will defend myself. I am not that little tiny kid you can push around, because now I'm 15 and I'm nearly 6 foot tall now, towering over this abuser. And it was just psychologically, she thought, well, I'm not physically stronger than her, but I still have her psychologically. And once I broke that psychological, tether or rope she had around me, suddenly I didn't fear her at all. And I wondered why I ever feared her, But it's only because now at 15, I knew I could leave and survive if I had to. I could go and possibly live with friends or go to a homeless shelter and get help, Back then, when you're very small, you have no idea where you can go. Like, even if some poor kids run away, that's awful, because then some other predator will pick them up and abuse them, So there were times I really wanted to run away. And then one time I just wandered the streets after school. I think I went home, put my bag down, changed out of my school clothes, and then I just went back out without telling anyone and just wandered the streets from, like, I don't know, 6 p.m. till, no, more like 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. and no one knew where I was, and I wouldn't, answer the phone or talk to anyone. And then I realized that, well, what the hell do I do now? I haven't got any money, I haven't got any food, I haven't got any, where to live. I have to go home. Whatever's happening there, I have to go home. I don't want to go home. I don't want to be in this terrible situation. And then when I got home, the police were there and they said, we've been looking around for her. And then I walked in the door and my mum's like, oh my God, there she is. And even though my mum pretended like, oh, I'm so worried about you, as soon as the police left, you can imagine what happened. It wasn't pleasant. I was punished. And yeah, so but yeah, so peer pressure can be direct or indirect. It can be the implication of a threat that if you don't comply, you will be punished, you will be hurt. And then if you know the person is capable of such horrible things, you will have cause to fear. Just like, for instance, if a person comes up to you in the street and just says, "Give me your phone," some people who are weak and have never experienced violence will just be terrified and hand their phone over to a person who just looks scary and sounds scary. Now, I've experienced a lot of violence and I've fought back against a lot of violence. I'm not scared to take a punch and give a punch. I'm really not scared, even though I'm a female, because I was living like I had to be Mike Tyson my whole life, to protect myself from men and women. So I would turn around and be like, "Make me give it to you," and that would shock them. And they'd be like, "Whoa, she's not the one to mess with." But if they were pretty aggressive, they might pull out a knife, or they might think, "Oh, I'm gonna, go further and be violent towards her." But I'd be ready. As soon as they say that to me, the adrenaline would flood my body, and fists would be balled up, and I'd be ready to fight to the death. I'd be like, "Well, we're both dying tonight because you're not getting my phone. You're not getting $1 out my pocket." So yeah, that's different. Like, I've seen that happen where I've been with friends who are not fighters. They had a lovely childhood. Their parents are very soft and docile, so they're very soft and docile. And they'll be walking with me, and someone will say something aggressive or nasty to them, and they'll be shocked and scared. And I'll be ready to hurl abuse back at the person and ready to fight if need be, ready to protect myself and others. Like, it's just so different. My mindset is just so different. And sometimes it gets you in problems because you can't let things go, like, even if it sometimes might be a dangerous situation. It's like, as much as it sounds crazy, I would be willing to go out, like I'm fighting to the death. I know it sounds crazy, but that might be because I got nothing to lose. In my mind, I don't have any kids. I'm divorced. I don't worry about leaving anyone behind who can't look after themselves. Like, there's enough people in my life who I know that if I wasn't here, they're not destitute. I've put things in place for the ones who need the support, and the ones who can look after themselves can look after themselves. But it's like, if I had a big family of kids and a partner who I could trust, I would feel bad to like be taken away from them. So yes, I'd be more careful if I had that. But the fact that I don't want those things anymore, it's like, I feel really powerful, more powerful, because I don't feel scared. But some would say, but you should keep yourself safe. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, but that's not the world we live in. I'm not going to let anyone bully me into anything. But obviously, I mean, living in London, we don't have guns, so I can outrun a knife attacker, or I can, if I'm using my self-defense techniques, I can do certain things. If he's not very well versed with the knife, he's just used to showing it to people. If he's not a good fighter, then I can get around that. But anyway, so yeah, peer pressure can be indirect, like I said. It can be implied, or the implication can be that if you will be punished or in danger if you don't give in to the peer pressure. I hope that makes sense. And another thing I noticed was just that feeling of, some families are very negative. They might, I don't know, say if you had a family of drug dealers or thieves, or and then one of those children of those people, the parents who were bad and the other siblings who were bad, they don't want to be bad. They want to be just a normal, law-abiding person. Now, their family is probably going to see them as a threat. Like, well, hold on a minute. If we're doing all these criminal activities and you're so law-abiding, what's to stop you telling the police about us, or telling us someone else something that will come back against us? So they're going to automatically want to peer pressure that good child or sibling into being bad like them. They're not going to let them just sit there and be neutral like that. That's an example there. And depending on how strong that person is, that person who wants to be good might pull away from that family, might leave, might even tell the police something about them if it's really serious, you know, like murders or something. And yeah, so, and another type of peer pressure I noticed was in relationships, just that kind of peer pressure of when women are, you know, in a relationship with a male, or even starting a relationship with a male and trying to hold back with the intimate side, and men will kind of make women feel like they're being cruel if they don't immediately give them intimate, you know what I'm talking about, the intimate stuff. They'll be like, well, I took you out to dinner and I took you here and I bought you this and I bought you that. Why am I not getting that intimate stuff? And the woman's probably thinking, well, I thought we were getting to know each other emotionally and, you know, psychologically. Isn't that more important? But of course, the man is thinking, well, I want this, that, and the other. I want everything. Whereas the woman can hold off and be, you know, a little bit, she can wait, you know, but men seem to get it into their head that we're being cruel if we don't want to jump on them immediately. And the thing is, the double standard, which is crazy, is that if a woman does say, I love you, you're amazing, in the first date, she's going to be judged like, ooh, you love me, I'm amazing, like, you just met me. They're going to judge them, but they'll take the sex. If the woman goes with them, they'll be like, yeah, oh, great, wonderful. But then they won't call her the next day, or they'll make her feel like a dirty woman if that she liked him enough to go there. They'll assume she's doing this with everyone else, you know. They won't say, oh, well, it must be because she likes me so much, you know. Even though they're probably talking to multiple women as well. Yeah, but that's kind of all I have to say right now about peer pressure. I might make another video another day, but I hope everyone's doing well, and wherever you are in the world, take care and have a great day. So that's the end of the video now. Bye for now. Oh, also, if you do like anything you see or hear, like basically if you like any of my videos on the channel, please like, share, subscribe, and that's it. Have a good day. And if you don't like anything, don't do anything at all. That's fine too. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.